significance for our own Krishna consciousness. Was it last week? Sangita, maybe she's here. I can't minimize the screen. So anyway, well, it's benefit of everyone. Sangita asked about, we're supposed to find points for applying. And my response was that the hearing is applying, and that's all it is. We're going to do, and specifically when we look at these verses in detail, just focus and go slow. Prabhupada established that style of one verse a day in the Bhagavatam. Let us also go through the story, but looking at the verses, give us so much insight. So we'll carry on. There's a few verses we'll discuss remaining in the Panihati Chida-Dahi Mahatsob. Mande hang Shri Guru Shri Jitapada Kamalang Shri Guru Vaishnavam Chansi Rupam Shagrajatam Shahakan Vaganatam Vitam Tang Shajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Panijan Shaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shibishakam Vidang Shamanta Guru Anjota Ashika Guru Ganta Charane Agikari Abandon Manchaka Vidam Vishnu Gavashan Vivita Potitanam Pavaneva Vaishnava Mona Vishnu Panay Krishna Vrishna Mane Bhakti Vedanta Vishnu Prabhupada ki jai. Yeah. We were discussing, we'd gotten to the point where sorry about this. Yeah, I just better message these people. Yeah. Bengali talk show, 7:30. Raghunath Das had come. He had that experience. Just imagine what that experience would have been like in Shantipur, when he was just married or he was going to get married, a young man, probably just married. And he was able to spend a week or 10 days with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a sort of service, the Vapu Seva, so close. Had an opportunity over the years, over the decades in Krishna consciousness to be able to do Vapu Seva for great Vaishnavas. Actually, one time I did some Vapu. I was just become a new devotee, and His Holiness Gopal Krishna Gosvami, he visited Melbourne the only time. And I just become a new devotee and brahmachari, and I was serving him for a couple of days. And then, as a brahmachari, we got an opportunity to serve many sannyasis, stay with them, and live with them, and it's very, very intense, especially they're very absorbed in Krishna consciousness, and you just get swept along. So much absorbed in the preaching mission, you get swept along, and such on transcendental association. So can you imagine the experience that Raghunath Das would have had, having spent 10 days with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doing that type of service, like, sweeping the floor, cleaning, washing the floor, making the bed, setting the bed up at night, massaging Mahaprabhu's lotus feet and legs, and cleaning the prasadam plates, preparing the prasadam. Raghunath Das wouldn't have been preparing prasadam, but all these things, the plates and serving the prasadam to Mahaprabhu. What an experience! Imagine that, serving Chaitanya Mahaprasadam as he's there, relishing. There's a sannyasi talking to you in Bangla. Wow, what an experience! Raghunath Das had that experience. So obviously, something you could never forget. You'd always remember. You'd always be thinking about that. How could you ever forget that? So Raghunath Das, Mahaprabhu at that time, he ordered him to, you should externally act like a normal person, householder, responsible householder, but internally you be detached, develop your Krishna consciousness internally. And even Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, he goes on to describe the whole incident of Govardhan and Hiranya Majumdar, and how Hiranya Majumdar, the uncle of Raghunath Das, had, almost on the border of doing illegal activity, and he was looking, he was in trouble, and Raghunath Das was imprisoned, threatened, and he was able to deal with that situation and bring everything to a peaceful arrangement. So yeah, a devotee should be adept in dealing with the material world, so that everything remains, not that, we want, not that it's because we want to be expert in arranging everything for our enjoyment. No, we want to deal with the material energy in such a way that it gives us the least amount of trouble in serving Krishna, whilst so that we can serve Krishna, so that we can practice devotional service. And materialists, without Krishna consciousness, those things that come, and they upset them so much. But yam labha chapanam labha yam labha chapanam manyate narikam tuta. What is that? Stito guruna pivachalyate navichalati. Even when even in a Yasmin stito na dukha guruna pivachalyate. Yasmin stito na dukhe na guruna pivachalyate. In the 6th chapter of Gita, Krishna is explaining that guruna pivachalyate, jasmin stito. Those who are such situated in Krishna consciousness, jasmin stito, na dukhena, they do not experience the unhappiness of this world. Na dukhena, gurunapi vichalyate. Even in even in a very major calamity, gurunapi vichalyate, they're able to deal with everything and minimize the impact of the comings of the ups and downs in the material energy, not be overly elated with the ups, and not be overly pained by the downs, because the ups and downs are constantly there in the material. But for a devotee, it becomes minimized, and Krishna gives that facility so that we can actually get absorbed in serving Krishna, and so the devotee can deal with the material energy reasonably swiftly and absorb their mind in the spiritual energy. It takes effort, takes concentration, takes attention. So you have to have an environment where you can fully focus. So everything has to be arranged so that you can have such a thing, and not that you're always concerned about your eating and sleeping. You can have that organized in such a way with minimal effort, and in that way you focus your energy in Krishna consciousness. That's why the brahmachari and sannyasi, well, brahmachari particularly, that's their great facility, that they can minimize the material demands to almost, like just have no concern for the material energy at all. That's actually brahmachari is meant to be like that, fully engaged in the mission of the Lord. And they just come, take prasadam, and go back, take rest, and the rest all day they do sadhana, and all day they're absorbed in their seva. I mean, that is brahmachari life. That is the greatness of brahmachari life. That it's so easy for them to cruise through the material existence. Of course, they have to learn the method of controlling the mind and senses, and which they learn from the Guru, how to do that by absorption in seva. So Raghunath Das, imagine how powerful that experience would have been. And Raghunath Das would never forget that, constantly thinking about that. And then so he managed, we were talking about Hiranya and Govardhan, managing, the devotee is expert in managing the material energy so that you can have so much time for spiritual attention, spiritual effort, sadhana. And you can imagine that Raghunath Das would have been in a completely maddened state all the time, even though for 1 year he was following Mahaprabhu's order. Just imagine just imagine how much inflamed Krishna consciousness he'd be in constantly. State of inflamed Krishna consciousness. And so he managed to restrain himself for a year, acting like a common man. And then after a year, began again, almost, Kaviraj Goswami describes almost like a daily event. He would run away from home. And the wife said, he's become a madman. She's correct. He has. Every night, the husband's running away. Yeah. But what use will ropes do for such a person? Even Indriya Shama Aishadja, Apsara Stri Sama. His wife has the beauty of a heavenly Apsara. And he has the wealth of Lord Indra himself. And even that wasn't able to attach him, keep him. What to speak of ropes? And then at that time he thought, got an idea, and then he met, that's how it's described, Panihati, Nityananda Prabhu under the tree with his associates, his eternal associates under the banyan tree. And then he calls him over, you thief. Wow, what an introduction, what way of establishing the relationship, you thief. Today I'll punish you. Wow, it's like so unexpected. so extraordinary. It's called Avadut. And he's listening, and when he says, you make Chida-Dahi for all my associates. Wow. Anandita hoilo mohan. Raghunatha, yeah. And immediately he was a capable man. He had his followers, associates, assistants everywhere. So immediately he sent men. Of course, now you could think of someone inspiring in that situation, Lord Nityananda present is to inspire people, go do this, do that. Yes. But nowadays, nothing happens unless you pay people. But Sri Krishna, he is the Sada Shaja Asaja Punno, full of all opulences. So where Sri Krishna is worshipped, then the devotee does have opulence. So he was able to, Nityananda Prabhu, he was able to arrange quickly all of these items they bought. And this extraordinary item, which you never hear of again, was only on this one occasion. Chida-Dahi Mahatsob, this special occasion. And he tells Nityananda Prabhu that how to make. He tells Raghunatha how to make it. And they bring 7 big clay pots, and they first soak in milk, the chida, flat rice, in milk. And then after some time, they again took it out, and then they soaked it in, one half of it in dodhi, and as yogurt, and the other half in condensed milk, dugdha. And then from that, there's 2 mixtures, and then added other things, camphor, sugar, different things, bananas, different in each of them differently. And then the 2 items are there. It's this traditional 2 items, Chida-Dahi. We read the recipe last time, what it was particularly. Bananas, sugar, and dugdha, or in the yogurt one, bananas and sugar, and in the other one, in the sweetened condensed milk one is camphor and something else, some other things. Sometimes there's mango in there also, you see. So Nityananda Prabhu, he's arranging this. So Raghunatha, so this amazing scene, again, we have to look at that verse. It's an amazing scene. It's worth learning Bengali just to be able to read a verse like this and get the picture, be able to see the picture. Yeah, everything's so beautiful, these verses. Yeah. Maybe a storm. It's a storm will lose the internet. Keyu upare, keyu tole, keyu ganga tire, bijan tintai, poribeshon kore. What a scene. Some are up, some are on the platform with Lord Nityananda. Keyu upare, keyu tole, some are at the base of the tree. Keyu ganga tire, some along the banks of Ganga, some in the Ganga. They couldn't find room. That's Nityananda Prabhu's way of enjoying. He could have made the place as large as he wanted. As much space, so made anyone fit in, he's God. But there wasn't enough room. They're in the Ganga. The men half submerged. with their chip rice, the 2 pots. Bishjon, 20 men. Bishjon, Tin Thai in these 3 places. Tin Thai. Bishjon, Tin Thai in these 3 places. Tin Thai. These 3 places. Some are on the belt, some on the platform, some at the base of the tree, some are on the bank of the Ganga. 10 men are distributing the prasadam in the pots. And then when Raghunath when Nityananda Prabhu was there and Raghava Pandit, he came and he said, I've cooked for you. His house is just 100 meters away. I've cooked for you. And Nityananda Prabhu said, no, today I'll eat these items. And then in the evening, I'll come to your house. And he says, Gopa Jati Ami Bahu Gopa Gon Shonge. Gopa Jati, Gopa Jati, Gopa Jati. I'm a cowherd boy, Gopa Jati Ami Bahu Gopa Gon Shonge, with so many cowherd boys. Ami Shukpai, I get happiness. Pulin Bhojan Ronge, enjoying this Pulin Bhojan, this picnic on the bank of the river. And as they were taking prasadam, the cowherd boys, they were considering that they were all on the bank of the Jamuna, Lord Nityananda's eternal associates. We know that Brajendra Nandana Jai Shachushuta Hoilo She Balarama Hoilo Nitai. Excuse me, I'll just change the camera battery. Sorry about that. It's about to camera battery. I'll keep speaking. You'll lose the video, but I'll keep speaking. Brajendra Nandana Jai Shachushuta Hoilo She. We hear that Brajendra Nandana Jai, the one who is the darling of the king of Braj, Brajendra Nandana Jai, Shachi Shuta Hoilo, he's become the beloved son of Sachimata. And Balarama Hoilo Nitai, Lord Balaram, he's become Lord Nityananda. So that means that as Krishna and Balaram appeared on this earth in Vrindavan Dham to enjoy their pastimes as cowherd boys, so in the same way, that same Krishna and Balaram in the same way that Krishna and Balaram appear along with the associates in Vrindavan. So all of the associates, they appear in the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord Nityananda's cowherd boy associates, they appear with him. That was, yeah. Lord Chaitanya's associates, Krishna's associates appear along with Lord Chaitanya. Gaurangera Shangi Gane Nitya Siddha Kori Mone. And Lord Balaram's associates appear with Lord Nityananda. So in this way, they're all enjoying the cowherd boys, Lord Balaram and the cowherd boys. Cowherd boys is Lord Nityananda and all of his servants and many of the specifically devotees of Lord Nityananda and associates of Lord Nityananda, and they remained with him and lived with him and served him. 12 of them were listed earlier in this section. So they're all taking prasadam, and then Lord Nityananda here, he's enjoying. He created this image. We saw the verse in the 3 places. They're taking prasadam, some are in the Ganga, eating the Chida-Dahi. And this is a vision that Lord Nityananda had, that he wanted to experience, he wanted to enjoy. And through the service of, well, he engaged Raghunath Das in creating that vision that he had. And in this way, Raghunath Das would have been so much blessed by the Lord. Sri Hari, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself came there, was taking the prasadam. So Lord Nityananda, he calls out while the devotees are all taking, he's looking, all the devotees taking prasadam in 3 places, distribution going on. He looks at, Agya Dilo, Hari Bol, Hari Boli, Koraho Bhojan, Agya Dilo. Lord Nityananda ordered, Agya Dilo, Hari Boli, Koraho Bhojan. Chant the holy names and eat. Eat and chant the holy name. Hari Bolo, Koraho Bhojan. Hari Hari Dhoni Uti. Birol Bhuvan. Bhorila. Bhuvan, Bhorila. Hari Hari Dhoni Uti Bhorila Bhuvan. Hari Hari Dhoni Uti Bhorila Bhuvan. The sound of Hari Hari, it resounded throughout the entire universe. Lord Nityananda ordered to them, chant Hari Hari and eat. Chant Hari Hari and eat. And that sound of everyone responding and chanting Hari Hari, that sound, it extended to the end of the universe and filled the entire universe. Then shopkeepers came, as we heard that the news was a very pious area, and there's so many Brahmins and scholars, and I was sitting on the Lord Nityananda Prabhu. He showed respect to them and invited them to sit on the same seat that he was sitting on. And others came, so many people came, and then shopkeepers came, and Lord Nityananda, Lord Raghunatha, he bought their goods and then invited them to sit and fed them the same hand, same prasadam. Now, at the end of the prasadam, with his own hands, a Brahmin offered Lord Nityananda a garland and smeared his body with chandan, sandalwood pulp, and then the pan, the betel nuts. And in this way, Lord Nityananda is sitting there chewing the mukshuti, and with the garland and chandan. This is actually how you can honor a Vaishnava guest, a sannyasi. You can serve them prasad, then offer garlands, offer chandan, offer dokina at that time. After they've washed their hands, they wash their hands. That was pretty cool. Wash their hands sitting there completely. They offer garland, chandan, offer dokina. Yeah, satisfied. Guru. It's pretty nice seva doing that. Serving Guru prasadam, and then hand washing, washing the hands, and relax a little, and then offer garland, and then chandan, and then offer dokina, and beg forgiveness for offenses in the serving the prasad. That's a way to get some mercy. So there's Lord Nityananda enjoying. Now the next day, Lord Nityananda enjoying the whole thing. The sound of Hari Hari is filling the entire universe. The cheering, the prasadam going on. Lord Nityananda is satisfied, taking prasadam. He was with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, garland, mala. Lord Nityananda Prabhu. This is Aradhana, a worship of Lord Nityananda, preaching programs, festivals, preaching festivals. Now the next morning, Prate, in the early morning, Prate, Nityananda Prabhu, Ganga Shnan Koriya. Nityananda Prabhu took bath in the Ganga. Shei, Brikamole, Boshila, Nijagon Laya. So with the Nijagon, with his special associates, taking them, Shei Brikamole, Boshila. He sat Brikamole at the root of that same tree that yesterday he was sitting. Again, he was sitting. Area would have been clean and fresh in the morning. Nityananda take bath, sitting there. Tilak, his associates are there. At that time, Raghunath Das came, and he fell down and worshipped the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, and he begged a blessing that, even though I'm the most condemned, I beg a desire to attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like a dwarf who wants to catch the moon. And I've tried many times, but I haven't been successful. Never been successful. Every time my mother and father would capture me and bring me back. and keep me bound up. Toma Kripa. This is text number 131. Toma Kripa. Bina Kehu Chaitanya na pai. Toma Kripa bina. Toma Kripa bina. Without your mercy. Kehu Chaitanya na pai. Kehu Chaitanya na pai. You cannot get Chaitanya. No one can get Lord Chaitanya without your mercy. Tumi kripa koile tar adhame ha pai. Tumi kripa koile. Tumi tipa koile. Tumi, if you're merciful upon someone, tumi kripa koile tare adhame ha pai. Even those people, with your mercy, even the adhameya, the lowest of men, pai. With your mercy, even the lowest of men can attain these lotus feet. Raghunatha, he requests Nityananda Prabhu, Mornamate, on my head, Pod, Tori, Koraho Prasad, you show me that mercy. Mornamate, Pod, Dori, you put your feet on my head. Koraho Prasad, you give me that mercy. Placing proper translates. This is Mornamate, Pod Dia, Koraho Prasad. Taking your feet on my head, Koraho Prasad. You kind of give me the benediction that need a big nay, Chaitanya Pai, need a big nay without any obstacle, Chaitanya Pai, Kora Ashirabad. You give me that blessing. I pray for this benediction. Kora Ashirabad. I pray for this from you. I pray for this benediction. Kora Ashirabad. 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 So then Lord Nityananda, he's satisfied. He's in the morning, the devotees are with him. Lord Raghunatha, such a nice festival. He comes, he falls at his, Raghunatha falls at his feet, begging his benediction. Lord Nityananda, he appreciates Raghunatha. He says that his standard of material happiness is equal to that of the king of Indra. King Indra, the king of heaven, is his standard of material happiness equal to King Indra, king of heaven. But he's not at all attached. He's not at all attracted to that. He left it. He wants to leave it. He will leave it. So I request each of you to bestow mercy upon him and benedict him. Lord Nityananda requests all of his associates to give Raghunatha a benediction. Now, Nityananda Prabhu's associates, they're all liberated souls, eternal associates of the Lord. So it's benediction from even one of them. They're all benedicting him. Just see the importance of Shanga, Vaishnava Shanga, of preaching. Lord Nityananda going there with such exalted souls. That's his preaching, making their association available. Had Lord Nityananda not been traveling and preaching in Bengal as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered him, then how would have Raghunath Das got this opportunity to serve such great souls? So that's the mood of the pracharok, the preacher, the book distributor, that you'll distribute books. You go and you distribute a few books. Had you not gone, those people, who knows, in this lifetime would they have been able to come in contact with Krishna consciousness? But because you took the effort to spend a couple of hours and distribute books at that place, the impact that will have. Those books may not be immediately, but that's association. Even someone else may read those books. So the preacher, because you go out and you sacrifice your own, accept trouble on behalf of others, that's the preacher. And Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, he got the opportunity to perform that festival and please Lord and get the blessings. So the next day, all the devotees saw that festival. They're all blessing him. And what does he want? He wants Chaitanya. He wants to attain the shelter of Chaitanya Bai, Ashirabad Chaitanya Bai. He wants that. Of course, they're going to bless him. They're all hearing that. He makes that request. Nirvighna Chaitanya Pai Koro Ashirvad. Mormatai Padadori Koro Ho Prasad. You give me this. He's saying that all the great Vaishnavas, Mahants are hearing. And then he mentions that Tumi Jai Korilo A Pulin Bojan. You arrange this lunch feast on the bank of Maganga. Tomai Kripa Kori Gold Koilo Agaman. In order to show mercy upon you, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared here. And he took that chip rice. Tomar Udharite Gold. Ailo Apane himself, he appeared. Tomar Udharite, in order to deliver you. Tomar Udharite Gold Oilo Avatar. Apane, he appeaed here. And then Chutilo, Tomar Joto Bigna Di Bondane. The obstacles which are keeping you bound are all gone now as a result of holding that festival and that Pulin Bojan, a Korailo, a Pulin Bojan, Tomai Kripa Kori Gold Koilo Agaman, you brought Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's how Lord Nityananda would explain it, that because it was enjoyable to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it was all Nityananda serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by arranging that whole festival and inviting him and seeing the chanting and seeing Lord Nityananda's preaching. And so Gauranga came. He came. Lord Nityananda saying he came to deliver you. All those impediments are now removed. But that's actually all done by Nityananda Prabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually in Puri doing some other. This is all Nityananda Prabhu's potency. That Mahaprabhu appeared there, he got the full mercy. So, and then he says some amazing things. Sharup Air is text number 142. Sharup Air Sthane Toma Koribe Shamarpon. Sharup Air Sthane Toma Koribe Shamarpon. Sharuper Sthane, you'll be given to Koribe Shamarpon, you'll be offered to, you'll be placed, Prabhupada translates, you'll be placed under the charge of Mahaprabhu's secretary, Sharup Sthane. To Swarup Toma Koribe Shamarpon, you'll be offered, you'll be placed under his charge. Antaranga Britta Boli Rokibe Charan. Antaranga Britta Boli Rokibe Charan. Charane. Sharup Shtane Tomar Koribe Shamarpane. Antaranga Britta Boli Koribe Charane. Koribe, you'll be kept at the lotus feet of the Lord. You'll attain the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord and become one of the most confidential servants. Into Antaranga Britta Boli. You'll become one of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's most confidential servants under the care of Saurabh Damodar. I mean, what a Lord Nityananda is really clarifying him what his life's mission is. You become an internal, a special internal servant. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very dear to him. This whole chapter goes on to describe this whole chapter. You could study Raghunath Das's deliverance and his levels after here. He goes to Puri and the experiences he has develop, still his father sends men to supply food for him and maintain him. And he uses that to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for some time and then stops after some time. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks, what happened to the feasts? And they said that, he's not accepting those donations anymore. And then there's instructions to Mahaprabhu, don't accept the food cooked by a materialist. And don't listen to the common grammar kotha, the common talk of the village. Grammar kotha na shuniba. Don't dress in opulent clothing. Gosvami life. Don't eat opulent food. And these instructions to Raghunath Das Goswami are very instructive, very important for the renounced story of life. And then you hear subsequently in how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu loved him so much. Shab Bhakta Dhware Ashirabad Korailo. All the devotees say, blessed Raghunath Das, Tar Shabai Charan Raghunath Bondilo. And Raghunath Das Goswami, he showed his respects to Tar Shabai Charan, to the lotus feet of all those Vaishnavas. Eito Kohilu Nityananda Bihar Chida-Dahi Mahatsob Name Kyati Jar. The famous Chida-Dahi Mahatsob celebrated festival. Chida-Dahi Mahatsob, the celebrated festival of chip rice and yogurt, I have here in Kohilun, herein described to you. And where Lord Nityananda showed his mercy to Raghunath Das Goswami. Are there any questions? So next week, we're expecting to have the class, I think we're on next week, yeah, 6 p.m., 6 to 7 p.m. And we'll be on the topic of actually Rup Shikha. We'll look again at the Rup Shikha next week. We didn't finish that. We're almost there. So we'll look at that Rup Shikha. Madhya Lila, chapter 19, around about text 140 will be around there. Prabhupada begins to instruct Rupa Goswami. So we look forward to your association at that time. Yes. And we take your leave. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.